Our numbers have been kind of building back up. We got Steve back there, is always the hardcore attendee, so I'm glad to always see him here. But we've got a good program tonight. And Robin, we've got assistants if we're going to need it. Is that?
I'm the assistant, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'll be Melissa's assistant.
Okay, well, I wish I could pay her the big bucks, but Robin works for me, with me. And why don't we just go around the room and everybody introduce themselves and tell us about your business. If you have a business yet, you've got plans for a business, why don't you talk about what you're interested in doing, and then we can get started with the program. Steve, you want to kick us off?
Well, I'm Steve Harrison. I'm here most of the time, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. It's kind of involved in a lot of different things, and still trying to find out what's going to work. One of the things that I want to try and do is establish like a leadership development training, personality, like based on DISC, training with people to help understand different personalities, the 4 basic personalities, how everyone has a little bit of one, but they usually have one dominant that comes out under pressure. So that be able to understand how when you're talking with someone, not getting across to them, there's a reason, because you're talking the way you might understand, but not the way they understand. So.
My name is Emily Comark, and I'm the owner and instructor for Central Kansas Infant Swimming Resource. We've been open since April, and I teach children 6 months to 6 years how to survive in the water and also swim in that process, but safely. And I'm opening my own pool facility west of town. There'll be an indoor pool facility so that I can teach out of that and then do some other things as well.
Where are you currently teaching now?
I'm currently renting hotel pool spaces.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're very creative. Or in the summer, I have some wonderful families who are very much advocates of our program and let me rent their space off. So.
My name is Megan, and I own the Biobox Bookkeeping. Self businesses with bookkeeping, so you need to get ready for taxes. So let me know.
My name is Carlos Mades, and I started a company called WeHaul, and we pretty much deliver anything that you can pick up. If it doesn't fit in your garden, you call us up, and it's kind of like Uber, but for your appliances.
Yeah, good idea.
I have some business cards for you guys.
Awesome.
Oh, dear.
Do you move piano?
Yes, I move anything that fits in the picture
I
truck.
don't think might regret answering that. I thought your name is Carlos Martin.
See.
I'm Mary Lance. I'm the director here at the Temple. You're in our co-working space. We have 20 startup businesses here at the Temple, and then this is a shared space. So if you're looking for a place to get out of your house or to find some collaboration or help, let us know. That's what one of the purposes that we're repurposing this building for. And if you haven't been in here and you'd like a tour, let me know.
Need meeting space, or
Yeah,
a
meeting
couple
space.
different meeting rooms, it would be good to, group of 10 to 12,
Yeah.
or
Up to 450.
Yeah,
Got lots of
upstairs, we
space.
got plenty
Smaller, large.
Yeah, our ambulance group is going to be doing a regional conference here. So.
We have event space and business spaces here.
My name is Renee Dexler. I am currently the Director of Economic and Workforce Development at the Salina Area Chamber of Commerce. And so I get to, and it is my favorite part of my job, work with small business owners and accessing resources and support. And then we also have our GAP loan funding program that I'll talk about a little more in depth at some point tonight. But essentially helping entrepreneurs access capital. That's usually one of the biggest barriers is maybe the bank can't fund your entire project, and then you can come in with some loan funding to help complete that for startups. So I get to do that. And then as people were talking, I will be the interim CEO and president of the chamber here starting at the beginning of January. So getting to do both jobs. But I used to be a small business owner myself, and so I do have a special passion for small business and entrepreneurship. And so it's always fun to watch things grow. So we'll go up here.
My name is Rosie Ziegler, and I'm here full support.
That's the most important job.
It really is.
Never have enough of that.
Yeah, I'm Demetrius Lindsay. Actually, I moved here in October from Colorado, and I was there for like 23 years, I think, but I'm originally from Arkansas. I'm still a small town country boy, but I've been in the city for a while. Let's see, I'm 20 years in the Navy Reserve. I think I got one more year left, so I'm probably going to call it quits.
That's fair.
And my business I want to start is actually a gift retail shop. And it's along the lines of the magical, mystical crystals and holistic into nature type aspect of improving, I guess, self-healing or self-abilities to connect to our, our spiritual self and, nature and stuff like that. So, and I see that there's not much of that going on here. not many options.
It's not a huge part maker yet. So yeah.
Exactly. And being in the Navy, I've traveled quite a few places. I've been every single place that I go to, especially within the U.S. I'm always stopping at those types of shops in the last few years. I've seen so many variations of what's available to humanity. And I think that it's time for us to start kind of reattaching, I would say, to all those natural, I guess, wondrous, mystical abilities that we have for each other, for ourselves and each other. Yeah.
Where in Arkansas?
Russellville, Arkansas.
Okay, I spent 25 years in the Little Rock, Conway, Cabot area. I
Oh,
worked
yeah.
in Little Rock, lived in Cabot and Conway.
Okay.
I was past Russellville on my way coming back here because I grew up here originally. So
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is like my path, Salina. So coming here, I actually, it was just because it was off the beaten path, and it's right in between my kids that are still in Colorado, my two kids, and then my folks down in Arkansas. So it's perfect.
you're at the crossroads. You go south, east, west, right here.
Exactly. I checked out Wichita. I checked out Topeka. I checked out a lot of surrounding areas here, Manhattan and McPherson. But this one hit the mark.
Well, we're glad to have you.
I'm Robin Vanetta. I'm the administrative assistant at the EDO, and I'm also trying to build my creative side hustle into somewhat of a business. So dual purpose, dual hats. And then I'll go ahead. I'll let Melissa tell most of her story, but I'll introduce Melissa Burrows is our guest business owner this evening. She owns Joyful Noise Studios here in Salina, and she's also our first place winner of our inaugural Charlie Walker Entrepreneurial Pitch Challenge. So since that's coming up in the next couple of months, we wanted her to come and share not only her business experience, but also her experience in the pitch competition. Any helpful tips that she can share with us and kind of what she learned, do's and don'ts. So sure, I'll let Melissa tell the rest of her story, however.
Can you do it twice in a row?
I think if you have a separate business, you have to have a separate business. I don't know. I'm game. Let's do it.
Be a different business.
Yeah. Have to think on that. Okay, so I'm Melissa Burrows, and like she said, I have Joyful Noise Studios. I've been a music teacher since forever. I think music's been part of my life forever. But I started doing private lessons. For students in college even. And it's just slowly progressed over the years. I've been doing private lessons. I don't even want to say how long I've been doing it because then that tells you how old I am. But it progressed from private lessons to, I found this thing called Kinder Music. Stumbled across it, didn't even have my own kids. And I'm like, oh, this looks like fun. I'll try that. And so I jumped into Kinder Music, which is music and movement classes for kids birth to 7 years. And it's just kind of kept growing from there. So if you want to hit the next. So Joyful Noise Studios. Our mission is to provide quality music education to all ages and develop positive relationships. And the important part that I see in our mission, for me, there's two parts, is that one, it's for all ages. It means it's from itty bitty babies all the way to high school, mom and dad who say, oh, I wish I had learned piano when I was a kid. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. We love helping adults find their creative side. There's never a time that you can't learn how to play music. Or even grandma and grandpa. I have a lot of retired people who say, I have free time now. And what better way to fill your free time than to learn an instrument? And you can learn at any age. There's no reason that you can't. And you don't have to be Mozart or sing like Adele to be able to do it. You can enjoy it, and that's fine. So we say all ages and develop positive relationships. A lot of what we do at our studio is more than just teach music. It's creating relationships with little babies and mommies and helping those mommies find their relationships in the community and have that support. And then as the kids grow into our older program, they develop relationships with their teachers and their friends. And for me, growing up, music was my safe place. When I went to the band's room or I went to choir, it was where I always felt like, this is a good place to be and loved and respected. And we want that at our studio. We want our kids to feel safe, and it's a place to learn and grow. We strive to provide a safe, encouraging environment for every student and family to learn and grow their community. So we want community. We want it to be your village and your safe place to go. So that's us. That's a picture there of one of our piano labs that has the very first year I started doing our group piano classes, and that's my very first class. And I still have 75% of those students in that picture. So when I started my piano program 4 years ago, and I still have all of those kiddos playing piano, and they're awesome. I love them. That picture is kind of special to me. Right. What we offer, we have kinder music classes, which I said that's our little ones. You can start as young as 4 to 6 weeks. We say that that's a great time to come. Babies still sometimes are sleeping, but that's for mom to come or dad to come and connect with other parents. I always say build your toolbox, because these babies don't always come with instructions, and you need some ideas and things to do, and we can help fill that toolbox, help give you support. Moms sometimes feel like they're stuck at home and they're just climbing the walls, and so going out to be with other mamas helps them feel better. So even when they're really little, it doesn't take them long though, because those little babies start rolling around and start doing things, and they start bouncing to the beat. So we start our classes with the level 1 with our babies, and then we keep going up to level 5, which is about kindergarten. Once they graduate kinder music, they move on to our instrumental classes. We offer piano, violin, vocal, viola, ukulele, and guitar, and we're working on adding more instruments just as soon as I find teachers. That's one of our goals this year. We also offer private lessons. So once you go through group class, you can then move on to private lessons. One of my favorite things to do is also birthday parties. So we have our kinder music birthday parties. And before COVID, I started doing princess parties, and then COVID hit and kind of reeled it in a little bit. And I'm starting to pick it up again, and I'll go over that a little bit more. But princess parties is also a thing that we offer. And then room rentals. We have our space, and we like it to be used. So a lot of people rent it just to have a place to have birthday parties. So we look at using our space in lots of different ways. So kinder music. I'll go into this a little bit more. Kinder Music is it's an international company. So you could go to the Philippines, China, Canada, Australia. You'll find Kinder Music classes all around. It's a fantastic program, awesome curriculum. It goes through each level of life. So we've got our little babies at level 1, they're in the middle. Level 2 are our toddlers and the little movers and shakers, about 18 months to 3 years. Level 3 is our preschool class, where you get to drop them off. Moms and dads get excited when they get to go to that drop-off class. You get a little break where we get to breathe a little bit, but kids have fun. We start to challenge them a little bit more with more difficult musical concepts, working on rhythm and playing steady beats, learning about different kinds of instruments. A lot of parents enjoy that we also work on preschool readiness, because there's a lot of kids who aren't ready for a preschool classroom, but 45 minutes is a great way to start working that direction. So we work on a lot of those different skills. Down here on the bottom corner, that's our level 5 students. In level 5 kinder music, they start learning how to play a simple instrument. So the one on the far would be your right the little boy, he's playing a glockenspiel. A lot of people call them bells or xylophones. And they learn how to read notes, how to play rhythms, and we do it as they're ready developmentally. And that's what's awesome about kinder music is that we let them be children. We let them play, we let them explore and have a lot of imaginative play. We don't ask them to sit in one spot and learn an instrument, because when you're in kindergarten or preschool, you're not ready to sit still in one spot, and we know that. So we let them have those wiggles and squiggles, but then we start learning little things. The instrument that the little girl's playing is called a dulcimer, and it has 2 strings on it, and they start learning how to play that in their second year of level 5 kinder music. It's a lot of fun. In fact, before I came here, I was finishing my level 5 class. And they're usually the babies that I've had from the beginning when they're itty bitty, and now they've grown up to level 5. And so they have a special spot in my heart. I love them a lot. But those students, once they finish level 5, are then really prepared for any kind of instrument that they want to step into. So if they want to do piano or guitar or sing, they already know how to read notes. They already know how to read rhythms. Any music teacher I know that has gotten my kiddos after their program say that these kids they're just ready to roll and they jump right in. So it's a really good stepping stone, and it does it as they're ready developmentally. A lot of people really want kiddos to start piano right when they turn 3 or 4, and you can start there, but there's so many other things that they can learn, and we want them to be children, and we want them to be little and enjoy that part of life before we jump into that.
So they come in about any level of the
Anytime.
So,
Anytime.
I mean, do they have to start at level 1
No.
or?
No, we love it when they start at level 1, because you do build and you learn a lot of things from it, and you build your community. And because a lot of those kids in that level 5 class have been coming, a lot of them come from the beginning, and they're like, it's my buddy and their friend, but you can come at any point and drop in.
Okay.
We teach year round. Our classes go all year round, but we do tell people that you're going to get the most out of this when you come every week, because you're going to know your people. You're going to have that village that you develop. A lot of this little group right here, I think they're all the COVID babies that were born during COVID. And so, but they have, since we got back and we started doing classes, they all ask each other, which class are you doing, so that they can all be together, because they just like having their friends. And so that's one of the benefits for parents and families, is that it gives you that community that sometimes as a parent you feel isolated taking care of your children. We like to provide that opportunity to find people in your space with the same things that you're going through.
So we had boomers right after the war that are we gonna have COVID babies now?
It's a thing.
Is it?
It really is.
It really is.
Oh my goodness. And it's especially those little babies that were born during COVID, they didn't go anywhere. They stayed home. So they get in, and I still see it where they say, this is our first time kind of getting out and doing things, and they don't know how to be with people.
Yeah.
And they'll run circles around the classroom, or they don't know how to engage, so they'll sit really quiet. And that's why I tell parents, keep coming. It's not something that changes overnight. It's something that takes time, and they have to learn to be comfortable and learn our routine. And I always tell families about 4 to 6 weeks for kiddos to really kind of relax and get used to it. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so after level 5, they can then go to instrumental classes, and that's our next slide. So we have a lot of different options. Piano is our probably most popular option, because everybody wants their kiddo to learn piano, and we start kiddos in group piano class. We have in our piano lab 8 pianos, so we can have up 8 students at a time. And you do group piano class for about 2 years. Once you go through 2 years of group piano, you can then progress to semi-private lessons, which is with a smaller group of either 2 to 4 students. And we try to pair them together with kids of the same age and about the same level. Some kids move faster, some kids are slower. We try to match it as best possible. After semi-private lessons, then you can move on to private lessons. I have some kids, though, that the only reason they like coming to class is because they get to see their friend. So they want to stay with their friends. So I have some kids who are we're just doing private lessons together, semi-private lessons together. We're going to do it that way from here on out, because I feel better when I'm with my friend. And that's the community aspect that we really support. And there's some kids, I remember growing up, where mom would say, let's go to piano lessons. And I'd be like, oh, really? There's those moments you just don't want to do it. But if you know your friend's there, it makes it easier to get in the door, and you have fun spending time with your friend. And it helps encourage maybe those students who would have quit might stay longer because they like to be with their friend. And then when they stay longer and they commit with it, then they start to learn more. And then once you get, there's something that like unlocks, and there's a point where they go, oh, this is actually kind of good. I like it. So there's moments that there's a challenge, and we want them to meet that challenge, but then figure out how to get over that. And then when you get over that, that's when you get that feeling of, oh, I did it. And that's when you enjoy it. And that's what we hope happens as you're there. And we found that doing it with your friends makes it easier. So there's a lot of benefits to group. We have our violin. We just started this last year. We had 6 beginner violins, and they've all now gone to another year of violin. And I think they were all 1st through 4th grade. So we started them before you would start violin in school. So these kiddos, once they start playing in orchestra in school, they're gonna be ready. Vocal classes we do for kindergarten all the way through high school. We have different level classes for each age group. And ukulele is a fun, silly group. I recommend it a lot of times for our busier boys, that our younger boys that like to move and shake, but aren't ready for like a more formal piano lesson. But ukulele gives them the opportunity because you've got that movement and it's got some beat. We also add in a little bit of movement in class because we know those kids need it. And then guitar is usually about our middle school, high school kiddos. It takes a little bit more dexterity to play the guitar that we would ask kiddos to wait till they're a little bit older. We are working on adding more string teachers and brass and wind teachers, so that way we can provide private lessons and group lessons for kids that are starting out in band and orchestra here in town. That's one of our goals for the next year. The music teachers here in Salina are stretched so thin. They only get such a short period of time with all their beginner students, and they don't have, I mean, you just get that little bit of time to teach them how to play, and then you get the whole band or orchestra together. So we would like to be a support point for the schools in town to say, hey, if your kiddo would like to learn more, would like to have some more instruction, here's a great place where you can find whatever you need. Because I know I hear from parents say like, I need to get lessons for this, so where do you find this? And a lot of times it's just, who do you know to find that piano teacher or that trumpet teacher or something. So we would like to be a one-stop shop for all of their music needs as we continue to grow. One of our problems is that our space, as we're confined with our space, we only have, we started out with one little room in the building, and then we took on another one, and then we have the upstairs, and now they don't have any more rooms in the building. So we've been looking for a new location. We were under contract twice for a building that we were going to buy, and it just didn't work out. We have another location kind of sorted out that if we can get out of our current lease, then we can move to the new location. I don't want to say where it's at because until everything's signed and good, because I found it just sometimes doesn't always go the way you're hoping. But if we can get to that new location, we'll be able to have 6 different private room lesson spaces and 2 piano labs, a strings room, a large instrument room, 2 kinder music rooms, and also just a large space. So that's kind of what we're working towards. And then we were partnering with Wesleyan quite a bit and Bethany to get their students in to come help us teach as well. So it's a good partnership for education students who want to learn how to teach, and we do it in a safe environment that, hey, come and learn how to teach. One-on-one's a little bit easier teaching private lessons. I love teaching how to teach, so if there's kiddos that have never taught in a classroom before, they can come partner up and we'll show them how to do it. So that's kind of how we're slowly growing. I was telling her earlier, I'm always looking for teachers. So if you know anybody that's musical, even just a little bit, and has a heart for teaching and children, please send in my direction. I would love kinder music teachers. I could use one, and instrumental teachers always. So that's always something on my list. What do I have next? My semi-private private lessons. This is the part that I love. That's what I started out doing private lessons, and that's when you really get to know kids and connect with them, and it's been really successful. So, all right. And this one's been a bit of a passion project for me that has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to jump back in a little bit more. We still do princess parties. We just I've not had time to market it and put it out. There are some fabulously talented girls that I've found since I've been teaching now for so long. They sing beautifully and they love children, and it was just like the perfect fit. So they love dressing up and being princesses, and the kids just adore it. That's our space down there. So we have it set up for princess parties, and it's an easy birthday party for moms and dads. If you've ever done birthday parties for kids, it's stressful cleaning for them and getting prepared for them. And then you have to take care of all the kids and make sure they're happy while you're there. And then when they're done, you have to clean yet again. And so we take care of all that and then do all the details. I love doing parties. I love doing games, and kiddos are my jam. So I don't mind keeping a bunch of kiddos busy. And actually the princesses do it. They sing songs, they read a story, and they play the games with them. And we also let them take pictures, and it's just a hoot.
That picture on the left is here at the temple. I remember when they were here. I love that.
Yeah, that was one of our summer recitals that we did. It's like, and if you see that little girl, that's their that's all the kids' reactions. They just get so excited. It's just so precious. So yeah, I just have not had time, and that's one of my things that I want to jump back into and start marketing it again. Because I have about a party or two a month, but I would like to do more. And I know my girls would love to do more. They would do it every day if there was someone that would do it. They just have a ball.
So it's a princess party because one of the hosts is like one of the princesses and the kid girl dress up like it, so they're in character.
So like you can get either like Elsa or there's Moana down there, Rapunzel, Cinderella, and Belle, and they come and perform at the party and they do the games. And then I also have at the studio lots of princess dresses. So if the girls want to dress up, they can. We usually do like a craft where we make a princess bracelet or a crown, or it depends on the party. I tailor it to each kid, whatever they decide that they want. And we have boys that come too, and so I have like superhero capes, and I want to do superhero parties. I'm just I've got to figure out the details of that, because superheroes don't sing. So, so if you have ideas for what superheroes could do, but that's on my list.
They could.
I know.
They're turning everything into musical, so.
Right. So it's really fun. I remember when I first did it, my husband's like, "What are you doing now?" Because I just.
Do like an obstacle course.
That's a good idea. Ooh. Oh, I know, especially for a lot of those boys that are.
And girls too.
Yes.
There's also.
That's a good one. I like that. I'll have to spend on that. I like that a lot.
Take off a whole new direction.
I tell you, I'm one of those people, like, I think I have 20 different things in my brain at one time, like ideas, and it's just trying to get, okay, which one are we going to focus on right now? All right, what's my next thing I have there? COVID. That was fun. We had just started our piano program before COVID hit, where we started doing group piano lessons. And we just kind of took the risk and we're like, let's try this. I don't know if it'll work or not. And so I bought 8 keyboards and we rented extra space in our building. And then COVID hit and we're like, well, what am I going to do now? So we pivoted like everybody else did and learned how to do Zoom. And we did all of our kinder music classes. There's pictures of my friends doing it at home, and they would Zoom me into their living room and we would sing and dance and do all of our kinder music classes in the living room. And then once we could get back in person, we came back into the studio and we spaced everybody out. And piano actually is what saved my bacon, because I could space the kids out on the keyboards, which you see pictured there, and they would be 6 feet away from the person next to them. And they could learn to play piano in a safe environment. And nobody else was doing anything for kids at that time. And I was one of the only people that was doing an activity for kids. And piano's great. Everybody needs to learn piano. So I doubled enrollment that year through COVID, which was, it was a blessing, because I'm like, wow, this is great. But then I was like, oh my goodness, I'm the only one doing this. And so it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was a big learning curve of how to do it. We also, so I did all my private lessons too through Zoom, and there's one of my kiddos in the corner. And then we got creative and we did pictures with Santa where it looks like he's a lot closer than he actually is, but he was like 10 feet away. And because that was the year that nobody was doing anything, and everybody's like, well, what about pictures with Santa? And I'm like, well, let's figure out a way to do pictures with Santa. So I learned a lot of creativity, I think, through COVID, and it pushed us. I think everybody had lots of ways that we learned new things we never thought we would learn, and stretched. And one of the phrases that my husband and I say to each other a lot is, are you going to throw in the towel or are you going to drop the hammer? So what are you going to do? Because you got two options right here. You can either just say, fine, I'm out. And we always tease each other about it because neither of us like to say that. So fine, okay, how are we going to dig in and get this done? And it was a big year for us. Never thought I would be thankful for COVID, but in some ways I was. All right, what do I have next? Oh, okay. So the Charlie Walker challenge, that was, I think I stumbled upon it because it only came up, was it in January that you guys put out information about it?
Pretty close.
Yeah. And then you had to have it turned in within a month. And then do this. So I stumbled upon it, and it was a pretty serious competition that had a lot of, the first prize was very tempting, and I threw it at my husband. We had this idea that we had kind of been spinning on for years of wanting to do a kids' playhouse, a place for kiddos to just go stretch their legs, have some fun. We love going to the children's museums all around. All over Kansas City, Wichita. We go see my family in Chicago. There's some great ones out there. And Salina never really had anything like that. And so we also thought with the studio, it would be a great pairing because a lot of people come to class. And one of the things that I see happen a lot is that parents would connect with other parents and they would have fun in class. And then where do you go after that? Because you got your little one and you can't just sit down and chat with the mama you just met because your little ones are doing all things little ones do. So we thought, well, hey, this would be a great pairing if we could have some kind of play place next to the studio, and if they're close to each other, then I could kind of manage both of them and get them rolling. But it was never like okay, let's jump in and do this. But I had kind of been putting together ideas and processing it for a long time, and then so we stumbled upon that. And Roman said, my husband, he said, just write up a plan then. If you think you want to do this, write it up. So we wrote up a business plan. He went to the class that was, what class is it?
The Project Open.
Yes.
Key State.
Yeah. So he went to that because it was I think it was highly recommended that you do that. So he went to that and kind of got a good idea of what they were looking for a business plan. And we took it really seriously. And it was because he's like, if you really want to do this, let's do it. Let's figure out the numbers and let's do it the right way. And we spent a lot of time working on that business plan. We spent a lot of time researching what other places look like, how it would be put together, how it would work with our studio. And then we got peer reviewed. We connected with a lot of close friends who are also business owners. And people who have done lots of things and say, okay, here's this plan. What do you think? And got back the nitty gritty from them and said, like, this would work. This wouldn't work. Why are you doing this? And let them take their red pens all to it. And we had our good friends over for dinner a couple different times to just be like, okay, let's just hash this through if this would work. And that's the thing that's hard sometimes, I think, as a business owner, is just saying, this is my really great idea, and having someone go, I didn't think that would work. and say, okay, if that wouldn't work, what if we did this? And it was a lot of that. So we processed through that business plan a lot. That's the first part I think you have to turn in for the challenges. You have to do the business plan, and then the video is the second part. It's like a 2 or 3 minute video that just says, this is what we want to do. I'm fortunate. My husband is, he worked at our church for like 15 years doing sound and tech and creating videos. And so that helped a lot. But I still had to put together, I wrote the video out, and I spent a lot of time like with my phone on a tripod, making that video and talking at myself, and I think I spent a good 2 or 3 hours making recordings until it was the way I wanted it to be for just a 2 or 3 minute video. And then he cut it together, and that's what we turned in. So we spent a good amount of time And I think part of the reason we spent the time was because this is something we really wanted to do. And we decided whether or not we win this competition, if we're going to do this, we have to make sure we have our ducks in a row so that we can really step forward and make a plan to do it. So, and then if we won the money, bonus. So it was worth the time. You then have to go to and do a live presentation, which is kind of similar to Shark Tank. If you've seen Shark Tank, where you stand up in front of the people and present your business idea. So we went kind of Shark Tank with it, because if you watch the show, they always go a little bit over the top with their presentations, doing costumes or something silly or whatnot. So I brought my kids, because what's goofier than my kids? So all three of them, and then we brought their best friends as well, and they wore costumes and like little Packy there rode it on a horse, and then you can't see it, but RJ's sitting on a little race car, and we kind of use those as examples for our playhouse, just to kind of make it fun as we presented. And we practiced a lot, because getting up in front of people can be not fun, not everybody's favorite thing. So we spent a lot of time practicing, so we knew what we were going to say. We wrote it out, had notes with us, so we were really prepared. Don't do it off the cuff. It doesn't go well. So just make sure you're prepared. And like I said, we just went in thinking, hey, this is a great way for us to just get our first step on doing this business. And we won. So it was a lot of fun. I really recommend doing it. If you have a good idea, and putting the time into it was just great learning process, and you might win. So it's a pretty good deal.
How long is your portion of the presentation?
It's 5 minutes or less.
We were super cruel, and everybody had to stay like a greeters. They couldn't watch the others present until after they were done presenting, and then they could sit in the audience and watch. And so I think that was, I will do that again, because I think we didn't want to psych anybody out, but a lot of people were coming in not having seen anything that had happened. So you heard that.
Especially the first time that it ever had happened. So like, you just don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So.
Is there an audience, or is it just a
Audience, and then we have judges. So we encourage everybody to bring friends, family, and so I mean, we wanted a group of people there, and they were cheering. And
So all those friends that we've been having dinner with, like, I'm like, you guys gotta come now. So yeah.
And that's, what you talk about, there's a method called the ice house. It's where it's a different type of business plan. And it's doing exactly what you did. That's one of the things they talk about, is getting people involved, come and give you the opinion of, is it a business plan? And you, instead of having a longer process, it's a much more immediate response.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So we are currently, with the business plan we presented, we were going to purchase a building this summer, and it didn't work. It wasn't the right fit. But with this new location that we're looking at and hoping to move to soon, we are planning on moving forward with the business plan. So it's just kind of waiting for all those little ducks to get in a row the right way. And I think that's the one thing as a business owner, is that every time you think, oh, it should just be this, and it should be straightforward, it's never straight. It's always kind of like this. And you may not even end up where you thought you were going to be. But for the most part, for me, I felt like it's been great though too. It's been a fun journey. So just enjoy the journey. Don't be worried about what direction you go. Just enjoy it. So, all right. So I just kind of put some fun lessons learned over the time period I've been doing this. Like I said, I've been teaching private lessons for 15 years. I started doing kinder music 14 years ago, and Joyful Noise Studios, we opened up I think it's 3 years just now. So and that was the music school itself. So we just slowly added things. And so that's what my first point is. Don't be afraid to grow slowly. It's okay if it's a couple years down the road. And 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought I would be here. It was such a pipe dream. I told my husband, I'm like, someday, wouldn't it be great to have a music school where anybody could go to get any kind of lesson they wanted. And I remember him being like, that's a lot of work. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't it be neat? And when we opened up the piano lab just 3 or 4 years ago, it was like, oh, this could almost happen. And I always want to go like racer speed, and he's always like, wait, let's slow down. Let's make sure we're doing it right. And so that was the next thing, so build a solid infrastructure. There's a lot of things that we could have done faster, but we wouldn't have been prepared to take on the influx of enrollments or things going on. Like that was one of our struggles when we started piano, was that we were like, hey, this is great, let's do this. And then all of a sudden I had way more students than what I was really ready for, and so then we had to kind of back up a little bit and grow a little bit more slowly so that I could bring on teachers, train those teachers, get them ready, getting an enrollment system figured out so that way I could handle the 300 students that are coming through plus. So it's okay to take your time and learn and do it a little bit at a time. Learn to pivot. Like I said, COVID was lots of fun, but it's okay to do something different. Like you can go into it with, I want to do it this way, and then all of a sudden you're doing it another way, and that's okay. One of the things that we think has helped us be more successful as a business is that we are debt-free completely, and we've always been debt-free. So it takes a lot of the risk away. And that's part of the slow growth part too, is that we don't grow until we know we have the funds to support it and be ready to really get behind it. My husband is a big Dave Ramsey fan. We've taught it. We've taught the class a couple, like 4 or 5 different times, and it hurts him to have any kind of debt. So, and we're a team. He was going to be here tonight, but he's at Nutcracker rehearsal because we're doing that this weekend. But he's my brakes, is what I always say. He always makes me slow down, think about it, and he's helped me make a lot of wise choices because of that. Because it's not worth it.
You must be the free spirit.
Way out there. Actually, it made it possible for him. He was working at our church. He was able to step down from his position there, and he's my right-hand man running all my accounts and taking care of our website and doing all that stuff on the back end that not my favorite things to do. And I love passing that off because I just like being with babies, is what I would say. Just let me play with the babies. And so he does a lot of that. It's a nice way to partner for his partner. On that note, relationships are important. I think that's one thing that has been a really important thing for me, is that as we've continued to grow, that we still have relationships with our students, with our families, and we make those connections. When I was doing private lessons with just a few kids, I was that one person that connected, and they knew me, and it was my name. And then as I continued to grow my kinder music classes, all those students knew me, and now I have 15 teachers under me right now, 16 teachers. And there's kids coming in now that I don't know. And I try really hard to know their names or know their family. And, but I really press that upon my teachers, that those relationships are what keeps people coming back. They love learning music, and that's great. And we can be great teachers, but if they don't have a relationship and feel comfortable, then they're going to be more likely to go find someplace else or just not want to do it anymore. And so the relationship is the most important thing, because, there's other businesses that I go to because I have that relationship. So it's an important thing. One of the phrases we say a lot is bottle up the good days. A lot of times I'll call my husband and say, like, it's a really good day. You bottle it up, put it in your pocket, because sometimes there's days that are harder and you get frustrated, and it's easy to there's lots of times I'm like, I don't want to do anymore. And that's when you take out and you look back, okay, there's these good days, and they're going to come back again. So just remember those really good days, because sometimes there's days that are just hard. And I think I already said this one. It's our joke. Are you going to throw in the towel, or are you going to drop the hammer? How serious are you going to get? And I always just love the challenge, because as soon as my husband says that, if I'm whining about something, and he'll say that to me, like, put on your big girl panties and just keep going. So that's it. Any questions? Anything?
Yeah, I think your lessons learned that build a solid infrastructure. And that's, knowing what you gotta do and then having a bookkeeper or someone to do the things that have to get done that you don't wanna do.
Yes.
Get that, plus other things, like you've got to have your location, doing your little stuff as you build it. And the relationships, like you said, you brought on additional teachers, which you wanted people to kind of they're gonna represent you.
That takes time.
Because in order for them, whoever's that first connection with whatever you do, whether it's, teaching the music, whether it's in a store, whether it's at an office, whoever they have the most connection with determines whether they enjoy it or not.
Yeah.
And you've got that all nailed, you understand that perfectly, which is great.
It's so easy to get excited about an idea, and I'm so guilty of this, that you just want to go. But if you don't have everything lined up to do it well, then it's gonna fall flat, and you're gonna feel like, well, that didn't work. Well, it wasn't that it didn't work. It wasn't, you weren't prepared to have all those things ready to go. So taking just that extra time, and I am the worst. I'm like, I want to do it tomorrow. I don't want to wait a couple months, but taking that time to really learn.
How long, I know you said it was like a 5-minute kind of presentation, then how much was the questioning session? Like how long was the questioning session?
Like a minute or two.
Yeah, it's got a minute or two, they just get a task, maybe 2 or 3 questions.
But they've already seen your business plan.
Yes, they've seen the business plan, they've seen the video, they watched the pitch, and then they usually do a couple follow-up. But again, very similar to Shark Tank, just a couple follow-up questions like, what are you gonna do about this? Or, what is your, ROI on this? Or, something like that they'll throw in there. And so you kind of have to be prepared.
Know your numbers.
Or anything. Yeah, definitely know your numbers.
Know your numbers.
That's a big one. So you usually want to know. The judges are all business owners themselves, and so they definitely ask the hard questions because they want you to succeed. And so they're like, have you thought about this? And are you, and so they're pretty good about.
I think did you find that when you did your business plan, it helped you get focused on what you want to do and think about the things that, like you said, you get real excited, so let's go. It's like you put on the brakes, like, okay, if there's some concerns that I should have, and identifying those concerns. So it doesn't matter really what stage you're at, whether you're just starting out, whether you haven't started anything yet, or if you've been in business for up to, how long is it? Up to
3 years.
3 years, up to 3 years. Always developing that business plan as you grow is key.
Yeah. Well, and for us, so we've already had this, but it was the new business that we're looking to open. And so it was trying to, figure out how because we had talked for, I don't know how long, that would be great. But then when you sit down and you start getting the real numbers and putting it all together, sometimes you go, I don't like those real numbers. So getting the real numbers and really putting it down, and it helps you focus, like you said, because otherwise you have a really broad idea, but then when you can narrow it down.
And then there's a lot of the resources to kind of gather some of that information, the Project Open, and then like SCORE and a few of the others that they offer, by connecting with the chamber and the economic development, they can kind of point you, on those things. Did you utilize any of those?
So, we did the class, and then when we were looking to buy the building, we actually were working with Renee a couple different times, communicating through our roller coaster of fun. And I tell you what, you are so helpful. You are one, Roman was always like, she just responds so fast, and he always had great information for us. But we were looking at using gap funding, and I think there was a grant too or something in there. So there was a lot of really great options. And if we could have all gotten everybody together on the same page, would have been great. Yeah. But just God's got different plans, and I'm excited for it. So
we're excited for you.
Yeah, thanks. It's such a journey. And it's I'm just I think I've seen every building in Salina that has about 4,000 square feet or more.
Have you learned anything about real estate?
I actually have way more than I ever really wanted to know about commercial real estate. But But I never would have thought I would have looked at doing that though 10 years ago. So like I said, learning those things that I never knew.
So you're imagining you're probably learning something every day, growing as far as the business or another area of the business.
Yeah. But it's fun. If it's your passion, like it should be fun, and what you really want to do that I enjoy looking into that stuff and finding that information. There's certain things that I'd rather pass off to other people, like bookkeeping and running our accounts. We're just talking social media, not my favorite, but things that we have to do and learn because it's part of having a business now. Who would have thought we'd have to do that kind of stuff 10 years ago? But it's what you do.
Anybody else have any other questions? It was great to see where you come from that time last year, and in the winter, and getting did you have any problems with the bank?
Oh, no.
That big check.
Can I tell you, my husband still talks about it. Like, apparently his bucket list was to get a giant check someday. And like, we still have the check. It's stored. Like, he will not, like, it's a special thing for him.
That's why we did the big checks. Because I was like, everybody wants a big check. Like, we have to do big checks.
It was in our living room for like a good solid 2 or 3 months. And the kids are like, are you ever going to take that to the bank? And we're like, no, we already did. That's just.
I love it.
So, yeah, no, it went through no problem. It was great. He really I had to stop him. He wanted to drive to the bank with a big check and like try to put it. I'm like, please no.
Okay, I'm cashing this check.
I've been in Bennington Bank since it was a lot of their money.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, we're looking forward to, I just want to go watch this year. It was a lot of fun to watch the competition because we were I think we were the second or the third one that went. So we got to watch a lot of them. Yeah. So it was really fun. I was so impressed with some of the kids that were up there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we had a lot of youngsters.
It was great.
It was really fun.
Yeah, and there was different, last year there was businesses at different levels as well that were in that competition, which was kind of cool. Yeah. Whether you put in your app thing, if you get accepted, then great, and you get to be one of those, get up there stage and do your presentation, or if you don't, still go and kind of listen and kind of see how some of that stuff was done, and it's always it's great.
There was a lot. There were some little things that like we picked up while we were listening. It was kind of neat.
Because there's other things that someone else might do that that'd be probably cool for me to include in mine at a later date. If I do this again, or maybe not for this, but for something else.
Yeah.
So if you have an interest in the pitch competition, I will link Melissa's specific presentation in the comments of the live video after it's posted to Facebook. And then I'll also post the replay link to the actual pitch competition in the same comment. So if you guys want to go back and watch any of those,
That would be awesome.
you can.
Yeah, and then we will be getting some information out soon about the actual pitch competition this year. It's March 24th. So you can put that on your calendar. It's Friday night, 6 o'clock. It will be at Kansas Wesleyan this year. So we'll get some more information out. We should have the application open up soon as well. And the biggest things, as Melissa mentioned, are getting a business plan and having a good business plan together, even prior to the application launching. If you have that, you can upload that. And then there's a 2 to 3 minute video that just talks about who you are and what your business is. I mean, it's just a real fast sort of pitch of who you are and what your business is. And that helps us kind of decide the top 10 of those businesses that will actually get to participate in the pitch. And then those people get notified, and then you get ready to do your pitch. And it is just, you go up, you have 5 minutes, the judges, there's an entire audience. And then at the end of the night, we use a computerized program. They just enter their scores as they go. And so as soon as the last person's done, we know who's won the competition, and we go through and write off the checks and have a short break or whatever, and then award money. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Getting over the big checks. So just again, mark your calendars for March 24th, either to participate as a competitor or just come watch, because definitely having the community there and having that energy and having people just helps a lot too. So either way, we'd love to see you at that. And then do you want me to talk about?
Absolutely.
So I will just kind of promote two things real quick. At the chamber, we have contracted with the county. So you guys probably are all very aware that a lot of our local governments received funding from the federal government, rescue plan sort of funding. And the funding that Saline County got for economic development, we sat with them and worked through some scenarios of how we could best support our local small businesses. And we originally got CARES Act funding, and that went out as grants to small businesses that were struggling during COVID. But we decided we wanted to do something different than grants. Long story short, we decided to work with an app developer to create a buy local app. And it's called Choose Saline County. You can go to Google Play or the Apple Store, whichever your phone sort of supports, and look up Choose Saline County, and you download this app, and we've probably got almost 300 businesses on it right now. And you link as many debit or credit cards as you want to the app. And anytime that you swipe that card or any one of those cards at a local business that is on the app, you earn stars. And it goes through and tells you what the percentage is, and there are caps to how many stars you can use and stuff. We're trying to spend this money wisely, but you can earn stars just by shopping locally. And this is not just for retail or restaurant. So if you have a service business and you want to be on the app, if somebody uses their debit or credit card to pay you for your service business, they can earn stars that way. On the flip side of that, we have a number of businesses, and this is taking us a little bit longer to get businesses on board because it's just a little bit more intensive in terms of incorporating it in their sort of point of sale and how they take money. But you can also redeem your stars at local businesses. So every star equals $1. I'm telling you guys, I had 130 stars just by going to Mocha's, boarding my dogs at the family animal care, different ways through town. And honestly, you don't have to pull up the app when you do that. Like when you swipe your card, it happens. So it's just automatically earning stars. So I had 130 stars, and I went on a little shopping spree downtown at like Blush Boutique and spent $130 of free money. So it's great for the consumer, obviously, to get that money, but it's also really great for our local businesses because none of the franchises, none of the chain restaurants or stores are on this app. This is local Saline County businesses, and they get that money anytime somebody gets stars reimbursed, or if they use stars to pay for stuff, the county turns around and pays them that. And the county's been doing a lot of incentives lately for businesses to become redeemers by giving them up to, I think in October, they got 175% back of what the stars were spent. And then I think it was 150, I think this was 125. They kind of scaled it that way. Anyway, we're just really encouraging people to download the app, to utilize it. If you're a business, get a hold of me. I'd be happy to get you on the app. Either as a participating business or if you've also like to redeem stars. People have stars to spend. So we realized the other day, kind of looking at it, that there's probably about, I think it was $25,000 in stars that are on people's apps right now. It's out there to spend. Exactly. So it's out there to spend. So if you're a business, it'd just be a great way for you to not only be promoted because you're on the app, you have your picture and stuff, but they can use their stars with you, and they're looking for ways to spend those stars.
Remind me the process to be a business that they can redeem that. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'll just hook you up with Hector who's doing that, but essentially just to be a redeemer, you fill out a W-9, and then you get set up in the county's system to get that direct deposit reimbursement, and that's really it. And then you have to, and every business does it differently. However your point of sale system or however you do transactions, you have to figure out what makes the most sense for you, because it doesn't link to your point of sale. Like literally somebody's like, redeem at this business, and they get a little thing that says you redeemed 5 stars at Joyful Noise Studios, and that's they're showing you, and then you record that transaction however it makes the most sense for you.
Okay.
Some people do it, if they have a point of sale, do another tender amount. Some people are actually able to create a Salina Stars category and they punch that in. It just kind of depends, but we'll walk you through that. Hector's on my staff who does a really good job with helping folks with that. But it really, just to get it set up in our system and in the app, it's W-9, and then setting up to get reimbursed.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, when I brought it up, they said you got 2.81 stars, I have no idea where.
yeah, exactly.
I
I'm not sure where I swept my card, but so
Somehow
anyway,
I got
that's,
109. So.
You can go into your reward history and it will show you.
yeah, I
where
was
you
gonna
earned
say,
your
it will
stars.
show you. But, so just really encouraging that. And then real quick, before everybody leaves, I just, if you're not aware of Project Open and the resources that we have at the Chamber, we do provide free business training classes. They're taught out at K-State Salina. Their business group does a great job with those classes. They're really, really good at what they do. They've been doing this for a long time. So they do a great job. So we provide those. As Melissa mentioned, we do provide gap funding to help businesses get the collateral they need, the capital that they need. And then we also have grants. We have some grant funding as well that we can help businesses with. And so this is for startups who have, they need $100K to start their business and they can get 40 from the bank. We can usually come in and extend a loan for that for maybe 60, and it's a very low interest rate. This is also for expansion. So as Melissa mentioned, they wanted to just expand and buy property. And that's where we can come in and help them reach that need to get, the capital they needed for that property. So if you're expanding, if you're, looking to start up, there's a lot of different ways we can help. There's a lot of money out there right now for businesses because, again, COVID, the SSBIC came down. Kansas got $69 million to loan out to small businesses. And so we are a part of that system. So we can loan, up to $100,000 in just the gap loan funding. So I definitely encourage you to come talk to me once you have that business plan, talk to the bank and kind of know what the bank is able to do for you. Unfortunately, I can't do any straight loan funding. That's always my biggest. I'm like, I wish I could just give out money without having the bank, but don't let me do that. Exactly. Don't let me do that. It's probably a good thing. Right, I know. But once you talk to the bank, and if you need assistance on who to talk to, there's definitely a lot of ways I can help, but just making sure that people are aware that this exists, that there is money out there if you're wanting to, do some things and you're hitting a wall with accessing capital. That's usually, like I said, the biggest barrier is that we're not all independently wealthy and can't just, take out huge loans. So we want you to have that capital though, because if you have a strong business plan and you have a business idea, we want you to start. So thank you, Melissa. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So there's these cards are in the back as a part of the thing, and my contact information is on there. So you can always get
when the next Project Open classes are going to be?
they will be in February, so they are not scheduled yet. There is a website listed on here. And as Demetrius came in yesterday, and did I get your name right?
Perfect.
Good. Okay. So he came in yesterday, and I will take your name and email and put you on my email list. And so if you're interested in those classes, I'm happy to notify you when they open. So they should be in sometime in February. So that notification will come out at the end of this month or early next month when we get them scheduled and registration open. And then usually February, May, August, and November. They're done quarterly, so those are typically the dates. So we'd be happy to have you.
Does the school have anything that's coming up? Any of those, because I know they a lot of times will have a business plan or a work.
They just had one today, darn it, and I didn't get it out in time.
Yeah.
Most of their stuff is still is online.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You know, because if you're not part of the economic development Facebook, that's because they post a lot of things out there.
Yeah.
Just add that to it, and I think Chamber also puts it out
We
there.
usually like try to post stuff as much as possible, so.
StartUp Salina is where.
Yeah, StartUp
Startup
Salina.
Salina, yeah.
Is there any, this is kind of about the pitch challenge.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, group that would hear your pitch before you know what I'm saying, like to practice with? Is
Yeah,
there-
so we're meeting on
practice?
Monday because we're hoping to actually do a pitch class this time around. And
They said
so-
that at the last,
Yeah.
at the,
Yeah, so we're
Hey.
hoping to actually do a pitch class, offer that sometime in January, February, prior to the competition, obviously. That gives people pointers and helps them practice, and you guys can all kind of work together on that stuff. So that's our hope, because that was probably the biggest thing from last year, was that there were some people who definitely knew what they knew what a pitch was, they knew what to do, and there are some people who just didn't understand the assignment, unfortunately, and that's on us. So we were
had
like,
a couple that talked about submitting and then
Yeah.
at the finish line, they either chose not to, or they just didn't get it all done.
right.
Hopefully this will help.
So we're just really hoping to help people really understand what it is that they want to accomplish with their pitch, so that they can have a good, strong, showing at the competition. So I think we're gonna probably get a lot more applications this year because of, so really just wanting to set people up to be able to do that. So all of that information, again, should come out via the StartUp Salina Facebook page. I'm sure we'll be sharing it on the Chamber page. I have an email list, again, if the project open, folks specifically that I share StartUp Salina information to, but also anything else that's going on, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to help, so I have a friend that, he lives in Swain County, but he's a business in another county.
Okay.
And he's wanting to expand, but he's having issues.
Yeah.
Can you help businesses that are in other counties or just in Swain?
I think if the business has to be in Swain County, but if he wants to contact me, there's e-communities, and like I said, there's this money that's out there. So depending on his expansion, there might be another e-community, or just the state network, Kansas, who kind of does all of this, could help him apply and have access to that money. I might not be able to do it through Saline County, but it's out there.
Okay.
So I definitely would be happy to help him get linked up with who could help him. Yeah.
But it's an online business. It's, keyword.
If it's an online business, but it's the what's the word I'm looking for? The address is here in Saline County, absolutely. And that's the same for this use Saline County app as well. Like, if the address is here in Saline County, it's Saline County business, we want to put you on the app.
Susan Pinka.
Yeah.
I just want to know
Oh, yeah,
kind of what I get to get.
yeah, absolutely.
I think her information is in that resource.
Yeah, I gave him a card. He came out of the office yesterday. I gave him a card. So, yes. So, well, actually, no, the card is right here. Let's pull that up because, so what you're gonna do is.
You're welcome, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Hope to have you back next month.
Okay, I'm just gonna write on there. Perfect. I'm just gonna write on
Can you
here.
have a
I
call?
don't know if that one was
Or-
flyer.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Good thing you reminded me.
Intro
You better go to the-
No.
With her.
No.
What she'll do is,
They call. Oh, and I'm.